It's well known the President of the United States is a basketball fan, so it's fitting the day after his second inauguration, we cover boys hoops here on Sports Talk. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Tyler Sloan. All three McKinney ISD schools had a successful run in their non-district schedule, but district games are always a tougher test. The North Bulldogs have been the exception to the rule, and their coach Daryl Kraft joins us later in the show to explain why he feels his team can win the District 13 4A title. McKinney High and Boyd just squared off in an incredible game this past Friday. Who won and now has the edge in the playoff race in 10-5A? That answer, plus the Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week, is next on Sports Talk. Just about halfway into district play in boys basketball for 10-5A, and the McKinney Lions right now are 1-2 in the district and right in that playoff position that they need to be in. I'm joined by head coach Wes Watson. And coach, coming into this year for McKinney, you made the jump from 4A to 5A. What were your expectations?
Well, we returned, a pretty good nucleus from last year's team. We had a lot of confidence at the end of last year. We played a really good South Oak Cliff team in the second round of the playoffs, took them down to the wire. And like I said, we had a lot of those kids coming back, and so we had a lot of confidence. We knew what we would be getting into, but we felt like we were pretty well equipped to handle it. And, we had a pretty tough non-conference schedule and to try to prepare us for the district schedule. And but I don't know if anything just totally prepares you for what we were going into. We obviously caught two really good teams in Plano West and Allen the first two games, and wound up on the short end. And then we had to play Boyd last Friday night, and we know how tough they are. So every night out's going to be a grind. But I feel like we've got a good team, and we're certainly not going to sit around and complain about having to make the jump up, because we feel like we've got a good enough team to handle the competition.
You've played a lot of good competition in some of these tournaments leading up to the district play. Some key games that you've competed well in, some that you've won, some that you've lost, especially in that Arlington tournament. You've played a couple of the Dallas schools that are Lincoln and Carter that are really known for being standout programs.
Right. And we opened up that tournament with Lincoln, and we had a 2-point lead in the ball with 40 seconds left, and we just didn't close. We didn't finish the game like we should have, and they wound up beating us by 2. But we had a lot of confidence going into that game. Again, going back to last year when we played South Oak Cliff at American Airlines in that second round playoff game, our kids felt like we were good enough to beat those teams. And then we were fortunate, even though we lost that game, that we had an opportunity to kind of redeem ourselves and get one more shot against a really good Dallas school in the consolation finals of that Arlington tournament. We played Carter, and I think they're 4 or 5 in the state and 4A right now. Really good team. They're long, they're athletic, and it was just a terrific game, and we wound up beating them 81-79 in the consolation finals. So if there was some kind of mental block that we had as far as being able to beat a Dallas school, because Dallas, if you're going to get to Austin in Region 2 4A, it's going to go through Dallas. You're going to have to get through them. So and so if we had any type of mental block, it was good to break through that barrier and finally get over the hump against one of those really good schools.
Gives you a lot of confidence going to this district play. We have some highlights from the first game against Plano West that we're going to show here just a second. And what they really show in the highlights when we were watching earlier is your top 2 scorers, Raynell Denny and Jonathan Shannon. They both really feed off each other very well.
They do. They complement each other well. I know Red really looks for Raynell in transition, and you're going to see here a couple of times in these highlight clips. Ray's done a great job for us this year. He's active on the offensive and defensive glass. He runs the floor extremely well, and here you see Red looking for him there, and you get the alley-oop dunk, looking for him again. It's Remington throwing it to him in transition, and Ray just does a great job running ahead, and our guys do a really good job looking for him in transition. That's Connor Fuentes off of a steal there. And here's Connor again. Connor's just got a knack for getting to the basket, and he's able to finish with either hand. He does a nice left-hand finish there.
Your Lions team really plays an exciting brand of basketball.
We do. We're fortunate. All of our players have bought into our system, and it's certainly a system where it's very player friendly. We spend a lot of time working on an individual skill and practice, and what we do offensively from a schematic standpoint is not real difficult to pick up on, but you have to have a good amount of skill to run it, and so we spend a lot of our time trying to improve our kids individually, and they do a great job working hard every day, and it's a really fun style to play in, and I think it's a lot of fun for people to watch it as well.
Two of your key players, Red Shannon and Connor Fuentes, they both took a lot of reps in football season.
They did.
Shannon had to have to touch the ball a lot of times as a running back and thread in the passing game. Fuentes a wide receiver. Does it ever concern you that they might take too many shots in the football season that might hurt their endurance in the basketball season?
Red, for as small as he is just extremely durable, and we've been through this before with him, and he's a competitor, and he's going to. There's no way you're going to tell him, hey, you can't play. We sat him out the first 2 games because he was banged up a little bit, but we weren't going to be able to hold him out any longer than that. Whether we wanted to or not, he was going to play. And Connor obviously had probably not as many touches as Red on the football field, but got a fair amount himself. And but those guys, I mean, the great thing about them being 2 sport guys for us is they've had that experience. They've played in front of 10,000 plus people in football, so it's good to have guys like that. So when you throw the ball up on Tuesday and Friday night, it's not something new for them. Their experience, the physicality that they bring, the leadership they bring, has been vital to the success of our program.
You lose to Plano West in the first district game, as we just saw there. You lost by 11 points in that game. It's 91-80, a very high-scoring affair. You lose to Allen. They're 3-0 in the district. Then a big game on Friday night, last Friday against Boyd, come out the victors by 3 points. What kind of a battle was it?
Oh, it was just that. It was a battle. It was the whole way through. We kind of traded, blows early in the game. They got up, I think, 8-1, and then we made a little bit of a run to take a 6-point lead, and then they were up 7 right before the half, and we got it to 3, which was a little bit more manageable for us going into the half. And then the second half was kind of back and forth, and had a lot of little mini runs during the second half, and fortunately for us, we had the last one. We made the last one, and were able to come out on top. But it was just, from a spectator standpoint, it was a great game because you saw 2 teams that I think have a lot of respect for each other. The kids have known each other. They've grown up playing with each other and against each other for so long. And you just saw 2 teams playing the game the right way, going hard and absolutely leaving it all on the floor that night. So, and it was a huge win for us. I mean, we needed to get that first district win to try to start getting some momentum because in these district games, we've only got 10 of them. And so each one of them carries the importance of about, 1.5 in a normal 8-team district. So it was good to finally, get our first one. And hopefully we can get some momentum off of that.
2 more big ones coming up this week. You have Plano, who's struggled so far in district play as well. They're 0-3, and then you have the district leaders, Plano East, also on the slate this week. What do you see from those 2 teams?
Well, I refuse to look past the one tonight. Plano. We just aren't in a position where we can look forward. We got to have our sole focus on Plano Senior High. They're really tall, really long team. They're a team that we need to. There's no secret. We need to try to get this game moving and in the open floor as much as we can. Hopefully our pressure can get to them, so it can lead to some easier baskets for us in transition. Because if they're able to turn this into a half-court game, then it's going to be tougher for us. Not to say we can't have success in the half-court setting, but we're much better suited to be out in the open court and playing in transition a lot.
7 games left in the regular season and hopefully playoffs for your team. What's one player that is a role player, maybe comes off the bench, that you think is going to make a key difference for your team down the stretch?
Well, we've got a lot of key players. I think everyone on our team, really embraces their role and understands the importance of their role, and that goes all the way down to the guys that don't get in much. I mean, we don't have one kid on our team that doesn't give us maximum effort in practice every day. So we truly are a team. As far as our bench play goes, when Darren Donaldson, is in the line. Darren's been out the last 5 games, and he's a normal starter. When he's in the starting lineup, Remington Edwards is usually the first player off the bench for us, and we can put him in pretty much at any spot on the floor. We can put him in for Red and bump him or Connor to the point. We can put him in for Tracy or Darren and be a little bit smaller. We could put him in for Raynell and bump Tracy or Darren to the post spot and be a little bit smaller there. So he offers us a lot of flexibility. And he's been able to knock some big threes down for us this year. He's a real crafty player. He's really good on the dribble, off the dribble. Does a great job getting his teammates shots. He's got really good vision, and he's not just a spot-up shooter guy. He's a guy that can put it on the floor and make some other things happen as well. And then we've got John Trell Rockamore that's come in. He made 3 huge plays in the last minute and a half of the Boyd game the other night. On the defensive end, that helped us. I mean, without those plays, we don't win that game. Drew a big charge, got a steal, got a nice tip out that led to a basket, and again, without that, we don't win that game. So he's been a real presence for us on the defensive end, and his offense is really starting to come on. I think we're going to see him continue to produce a little bit more on the offensive end as the season moves on. And Preston Smith, who's a sophomore, man, you talk about a kid that just respects the game, respects the process, and is going to come work hard every day and prepare himself. He's hit some big shots for us. He's a long-range threat, and a lot like Remington, he handles it well, and he can create some stuff off the dribble for himself and for his teammates. So, well, Coach, pretty good bench play.
Thank you so much for coming in, and good luck to you the rest of the way this season.
I appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you very much.
As head coach Wes Watson from the McKinney Lions are 1-2 in district play, looking to improve on that with wins this week. They play Plano and Plano East.